What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the very first Guitar Corner. Let's start out with some music. That's always the best place to start. I'm going to make a little loop, but I'm going to leave out the 1, 2, 3, 4. I got ahead of my skis. That first one's a little bit late in it. Well, there was some stuff in there. Folks, thank you for being here. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm hoping this little show is going to be, and then I'll break out a few of those kind of improvised riffs out of there. Man, if you're going to leave the one out, you better get your loop right. I'm going to try to always just keep rolling no matter what happens, because with my crazy mind, if I start thinking too hard, we won't have anything. We won't get to do this together. So, folks, I used to do a thing called Guitar Magic Mondays on Facebook, and it was a blast. I get up and I drink a bunch of coffee, and I just tried every genre I could on every guitar that I could get my hands on. And some of you were kind enough to kind of ask me to break some of that stuff down. So we are going to learn some stuff together, but it's not just going to be about licks and guitar and riffs and all this stuff. It's going to be a lot of that, but it's also going to be about a love for music and passion and trying to make ourselves better and what we can learn from this thing about everything. So, you know, I got all the music books back here that I've got some magazines that I found during the quarantine that I want to talk about, and just, I guess, not to get too emotional on you, I want to go back to this thing. You know, like a lot of us, especially us musicians that weren't able to work for, you know, all these months with COVID going on. You know, I got pretty down, did a lot of soul searching. I got off that gerbil wheel of touring long enough to probably take a hard look at myself. You know, always important and always a terrifying thing. And what I found was this is still the center. This freaking platinum sword that saved my life when I was a little kid. This is still the center of everything. So I figured let's take all those Guitar Magic Mondays and questions and let's put them in one thing and let's hang out together. And please leave comments, because I'll be learning stuff from you. I want to get a sense of what's working, what's not working. But before I give you a couple licks to work on for the week, let me just say that if you're here and you love music, you are in the right place. You know, I mentioned this being sort of the start of everything. I'll tell you a very, very quick story. When I was probably about 12 years old, I moved from the Ypsi, Ann Arbor, Michigan area outside of Detroit. I moved to Wichita, Kansas, ICT, with my mom and my sister. My mom was a substitute teacher. She taught piano lessons at the house at night. So I was very lucky. I was around some music growing up. But I wanted to get some guitar lessons in Wichita. So my mom saved up and she took me to the college there. I'm not going to name this guy's name, brilliant jazz guitar player. But she took me to have a lesson with him. She drove me out there and I had all the stuff I was listening to. I brought my cassettes back in the day. I probably had a couple cool things. There probably had some Jimi Hendrix, probably had a little bit of blues, but it was a lot of rock and roll. That's where I was at as a little kid, man. I saw Kiss concert when I was 4 and screwed me up forever. But I probably had some Docket and some glam rock and all kinds. Judas Priest was probably in there. And anyway, what the guy told me, what the teacher, what he said was, you need to get rid of all those tapes. If you're going to really learn jazz and you're going to improve as a player, you got to stop listening to that stuff. Now, mind you, he played some amazing music, and I was very inspired by where he was. And you're very impressionable as a young person. That's where I wanted to go. I didn't have enough sense of self to kind of know, hey, man, whatever's inside of you, whatever that fire is burning, you want to protect that. As long as you ain't hurting anybody, you're on the right path. But I left the lesson, and as great as he played, I was just crushed. My heart was, I told you it's going to be a short story. We're going all the way into it, you fine people. I was just, I couldn't believe it. I was just kind of destroyed. So I remember like yesterday, we go to this Burger King on 21st Street in Wichita, Kansas, and I'm sitting there with my mom, and it's one of those Midwest winters where, it's 10 below and dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's still, 8 hours till you're going to bed. It's like they call it the wolf hour, man. You're in the middle of the night and you're like, I'm never going to see the dawn. So I was just down. And my mom sensed it. She's like, what happened? I was like, well, this cat told me to stop listening to, the music I'm listening to. My mother was, she played classical piano, but had me blasting Kiss records around the house and Motown and all this. She looked at me and she was like, are you out of your mind? She's like, we are never going back there. And what this guy's telling you is, garbage. Thanks, Mama. You were right. I didn't go back. I found, Ray Berry over at Miller Music. I found Sterling Gray, one of the greatest freaking guitar players on this planet. I ran into some other mentors. But my point is this, folks. If you're watching, I don't care what style, what genre, what you're into. Hopefully I have a little something for everybody because I love all kinds of music. You know what they say? There's 2 kinds of music, good and bad. It's true. If it's all good if it's moving you, if it's soulful. So we're going to do Latin, blues, classical, surf rock. We'll do probably a little country. We'll do definitely some funk. I mean, I grew up on Prince and Parliament, and I was actually a drummer before I was a guitar player. So we're going to talk a lot about rhythm and keeping things moving. But I just want to say, love what you love. It took me a long time. I used to chase everything. I was like, oh, I'd be better if I did this, or this person's cool. I need to do what they're doing. Man, if you could find your voice, that's all that matters. You find your voice on this thing. It's the same with songwriting. It's really the same with anything. We can't always be looking for, the grass is always greener kind of thing. We have to, quiet down inside enough to listen and feel what's coming out. Dave Grohl said once, I love this. He said, there's no guilty pleasures. Like what you like. So if it moves you and you're not hurting anybody, you are on the right path. So I want to bring that out. I hope to give you some things that'll help do that. Let's give you a couple licks for today, folks. I want to say I know what I started with here is really on the probably more the intermediate advanced stuff, but I'm going to break it down in a way that hopefully those of you who maybe are starting out can see a path to some stuff you might want to learn. And I'm putting links in this YouTube video. There's links right below there. Check it out. If you're just at a place where you're still learning the cowboy chords, G, C, D, that's awesome. 3 chords and the truth. But you're trying to figure out how to hold the pick, how to put on a string. That's not what we're doing here, but that's okay. I'm sure we'll be talking about that stuff as we go. I mean, I'm going to be telling road stories and stuff, some great guitar players that I've met and things they've told me. But as far as getting the basics, go ahead and work on some of those links and kind of get yourself up to speed. But I do hope to always give you, something in each of these that works for guitar players at all levels. So let me just say the chords I was playing, mostly just root third kind of stuff or suspensions. If you just did them as whole, block chords, it would be E minor, C, B. And when I went to the A minor, I stole a sting chord. This is a suspended 4, and it's open A. And then on the 4 string, 10, 7, 8, Really cool way to do that. And that's what I want to talk about today real quick is dyads. I am obsessed with dyads. I think every solo I've taken has had something that had a little dyad riff in it on all the records. And I do some stuff for film and TV, and I built so many songs out of this thing. I'm gonna show you here. Say you had that E minor chord. Take that fifth, the B, take that G, and if you're still kind of learning the notes on the neck, that's how you can find it off the G, octave, octave, octave. And please learn those notes on the neck. I learned it from the modes mostly. The Ionian. You can look this up too. It's all over YouTube. Dorian, Phrygian, Mixolydian. I'm just sat in front of the TV for hours, a little kid just going, learning those. And then eventually get up to Aeolian, which is, minor. So if you have the tops of those. Mixolydian. Phrygian, Dorian. You start getting where you can see them. You probably notice I'm not looking at the neck anymore. It's just putting in the hours like anything. It's just putting in the hours. I always wanted to learn Spanish and I was terrible at it, but it's because I didn't spend enough time with it. And I've talked to people who are bilingual and they say one of the ways you break through is you get to dream in that language. You'll have a day where all of a sudden you're dreaming in the other language. There's something that happened to me on guitar and happens for guitar players that worked a long time. You stop thinking about the notes in the neck and you're able to sing it. Dum, 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 dum. And that's also, or here. You know that E is here. It's not like middle C on the keyboard. E is here, 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 here. We got 5 of the same note. So, guitar is amazing, but it's complex. It's complex because those are in the same places. And there's certain keys that I'm definitely more proficient than others. But I can get around in any key because I know how those notes and shapes move. But what I'm getting at is once you have that down a little bit, you could start working on these dyads. So I play that fifth, that third, and that's movable, especially when you know those modes. 7, 7. I'm just playing all 4th and 2nd string. 5. Here's a fun one. You go into what's called a harmonic minor. We'll talk about that later. That's what I grew up on with my mama playing classical piano and all my Yngwie Malmsteen records. Man, that second I heard that harmonic minor, a lot of you hear a lot of stuff down at that Spanish and South Texas music, and yeah, Willie Nelson. I grew up with Willie. He loved Django. You get all that beautiful harmonic minor. I'm just sliding here. I'm going slide, pick, hit, slide. You can really get those trucking too. Play triads, add a little note up high. And the cool thing about learning those is, the whole thing, at the end of the day, it's melody. We want to have soul, we want to have melody. So say you have a little, just put the dyad on there, connect that low one. So we go. It just can add so much sorrow and beauty to have those stuck on there. So check those dyads out. That's something I love. You'll hear me playing those a lot. There they are. Folks, thank you so much for joining us for getting this thing to set sail. I'll be checking in every few days. Leave me some comments. Thanks.